Okay, welcome. This is Sarah Michelle Brown, your virtual video director, and I'm really excited today because we are on to video 2 of my Express Yourself series for entrepreneurs. And today I'm really excited because we have the most amazing woman in the house today. Her name is Elena Lipson, and she's just doing amazing things for entrepreneurs. She creates self-care strategies for women, and she is just like knocking it out of the park. And she believes that taking time to really take care of yourself is not a guilty pleasure. It's the key to thriving in life and business. So yes, I'm so excited to have you here. Welcome, Elena. It's my pleasure to welcome you.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to connect with you and to talk about what I love and to get your take on it too. So thank you for having me.
Wonderful. So if you can just tell us a little bit more about your business and what you do and all that jazz.
Thank you. First of all, I love the fact that I can call myself a divine self-care mentor and actually make work out of it. You know, I sort of wake up every day in gratitude because I get to do what I really, really love and believe, which is support women to treat themselves as their number one asset in their business. So sort of tapping into that, like, okay, an asset, something that is valuable and makes money, but also at the same time, like you're your number one asset. So it all begins with you. Your success, your happiness, your health, you know, you are the pinnacle of it. And I think for so long, women have sort of had this guilty pleasure of like, you know, I'm going to go get my manicure, pedicure and take time away from work. But no, I mean, I think it's all so much part of the process. So that's what I do. I help women to figure out how to strategically put themselves first in their day, on their calendar, in their business so that they can really show up and love what they do, just the way I love what I do, because I do that for myself.
Yeah. Which, I definitely know that talking about guilty, I'm definitely guilty of like letting go of that self-care thing when things get stressful.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you're not alone. You're not alone. I think we're usually the first thing on our own list to get, you know, moved off in lieu of others and other things we need to do, but also the last to put ourselves on our list. I have met a few women who do an amazing job of putting themselves first all the time, but still, there's always this like guilt associated with it. And especially if you're a mom, especially if you have a partner or even people in your life that rely on you, we tend to like, oh, I'll just do that tomorrow, or I'll cancel that appointment with myself. And so it's just a mind shift. It's a mindset. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And believe me, the way I learned how important this is being on the complete other end of this, you know, putting everything else first in my life and watching my own mother do that and where it leads is not a good place to go. And maybe sometimes we have to go there to really get it. I know I did to really get that wake up call. And now it's just like non-negotiable. It's non-negotiable. My time, things that I need and want, it's not like, can I please? It's like, I'm doing this. You know, it's just a different energy behind your needs versus just feeling like I'm so needy, I need all this, versus like, no, this is what I need to thrive. So that's what I do.
Well, that's so amazing. And clearly, you know, you started to hint about your why, you know, that you saw some stuff coming up with your mom and recognized some of that in yourself too. And we're like, okay, I need to change something.
Yeah.
It's really great.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we can talk about that a little bit, or what do you want to know?
We don't have to go digging into, you know, the treasure chest of the past or anything like that. But I think it's true for everyone in business. Like, if you're doing something that you're passionate about, there's a reason why you're drawn to it, you know? Like, your life has led you there. And I think there's no coincidences as far as the path that we choose in our careers. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I think sometimes we discount that, you know, because it comes so easily. Like the thing that you're really, really, really good at, and it comes so easily, sometimes we discount that. And the way self-care really helps you tap into that is that you actually value your time and you value yourself and you start to recognize in yourself, like, this is a gift. This isn't just some like thing that I am good at by default. Like, this is my gift. And if I take the time to nurture it and nurture myself, then the reason it comes easily for me is because I'm meant to figure out how to share it. That's where the hard part comes in, right? How to figure out how to monetize it and strategize it and all those things and how to value it enough. Like, I have a gift. of seeing your brilliance, and I have a gift of showing you how to take care of that.
Yeah.
And that's not something that everyone can do. I've learned to value that over time and to turn it into a gift that I can share with people and give away. And so, and make a business out of. I mean, it took me years to do that. You know, I went the major like college degree, strategic, technical, computer route, and all of that was valuable. And I was drawn to it for a reason. And I actually bring a lot of that into what I do now because I need the technical know-how to do all the stuff that we're doing online in this whole new world.
Yeah.
But it comes easy because it's a gift, and I can nurture that and I can offer it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's funny. It's funny you started off in computers and doing that kind of thing. I actually started off in biochemistry.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, now I'm like artist turned, you know, video director for entrepreneurs. And it's like, you know, we all have that inner voice, I think. And you talk about that a lot of, you know, following your inner voice and listening.
Yeah, and you know, I bet if we sat and talked long enough, you could probably pull some nuggets of wisdom in that journey from like the alchemy and the biology and the physiology of things that you know about from that life to bring into what you're helping women do now. So I always feel like don't leave that behind. Like I've been a corporate trainer, I've been a computer person, but I don't want to leave that behind. I want to like take the nuggets from that. Like, well, what drew me to that in the first place, and what did I love about it? And yeah, I didn't love everything about it, and I hated sitting in a cubicle. It was like, you know, for me. But I that's, you know, I think for me, part of self-care also is really learning how to honor all those elements of yourself and then bring it into that authentic expression that only you can bring, because no one else was a biology, you know, major turned video producer turned writer. Like, there's never going to be that combination. It's just you. Yeah. And that's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's interesting that you talk about that, you know, because there's something about authenticity there in how you express yourself. And I've seen this coming up quite a bit with people as I'm, you know, launching this business and dealing with those fears of being on camera and being authentically you. And I find people, you know, often they press record and they feel like they have to be somebody else, that who they are isn't interesting enough. Who's going to watch this? They're going to think this is boring. And what I love about what you're doing is you're really helping people tap into their own authentic form of self-expression and being cool with who they are and like, you know, just figuring out how to sit within themselves and be okay with that.
Right. And, you know, there is some strategy behind that, too. If you're going to take it from a strategic, like, business, got to get this brand really strong. But also, it will connect with those that need to connect with it, you know. And I totally know what you're saying. Like, when I did my first videos, I was, I would say I was pretty outgoing in general. I grew up dancing and on stage and doing those kind of things as a kid. But then all of a sudden, when it becomes your business, it's like your baby. It's so personal. And it's so scary to put it out there, and visibility issues, and like, oh my God, and what do I look like? And my, you know, I think bringing all of that to the table in a really authentic way, not just for the point of like, blah, here's me, but like, okay, here's me. This is me, and this is me. Like, I love to hula hoop. I love to play the ukulele, and I really also love to talk strategy. Like, just figuring out how to dance that and be more and more you, and like shed those layers of expectation, especially in this online world. You know, we all have that comparisonitis thing going, and we all think our videos need to look like her videos, and her videos are so amazing because she's this and I should look like that. And, you know, it's like trying to fit the square peg in a round hole. It never quite feels right, you know? So when I was starting my first business coach in this sort of, this new business that I'm doing now over the last several years, she said, just turn on the camera and talk about something you love, and don't worry about what you're wearing, and just do it. And I did. I really love making my own. I'm a big health nut. Like, I have probably the cleanest diet ever. I start my day with like chia seeds and hemp seeds, and I know everything about gluten and dairy and vegan, and I make my own nut milk every week. So I said, okay, I can make my nut milk with my eyes closed. So I did that, and I just pressed play and record, and I shot as if I was explaining to my friend how to do it. And I was so relaxed, and it was so easy. And I remember, even though like I didn't think about scenery and placing and all those things that you need to think about with video, there was a ketchup bottle in the background, and, you know, all those kind of things that I look at. But it's still one of I posted it, like she dared me to post it, you know, go ahead and post it on YouTube. And I did. And it actually has the highest video views of all my videos, probably because people want to know how to make nut milk. Probably because I was really relaxed in the video. And so, you know, it's just, I brought myself to it. And then when I started doing them professionally, I found myself sort of stepping back a little bit and trying to be like, hi, my name is Elena, and this is what I do. And it took me a while to just like take a deep breath and realize like, hey, I can do something different in my video. I can play my ukulele, which I have done in a video. And, you know, it's fun. It loosens the tension, and it's me. And if you're going to love it and you're going to want to know more, you will. And if you don't, that's okay too. Like there's someone else out there. You just press forward and go to the next page.
Exactly.
You know?
Well, I think that's the thing too with video is people forget, like, everything's got such a quick turnaround, you know, like, and so for you to be yourself, what's going to be great about that and like expressing yourself as you are is people in your tribe are going to love you for it. People who aren't in your tribe are just going to, like you said, press click and go somewhere else. Like it's you know, not this thing that will be like forever ingrained in the world of people's brains. It's just like everything is so quick these days, so it's like you might as well, and life's quick, so like
unless you're running for president, like you know, just do it, have fun. It's like one of a billion, and
I agree.
Just, you know, have like you said, you will attract your tribe just by being you. And if you are working so hard at attracting everyone, you know, you're bound to be misguided in a way that, you know, it's a learning process. I think everyone has to sort of go through it at their own pace, but I don't necessarily want someone who sees a version of me that is not authentic. I don't want, you know, even working with them will feel strained. Versus like, hey, this is me. If I'm going to stop during our coaching call and like have you take a deep breath and shake around and dance, you know, I want that to be real. Like that's what I do. Versus like, okay, and now we're going to do this, and now we're going to do that. Right. So it just it's a relaxing, it's a trusting, it's a maturing into yourself. You know, it's just a beautiful process to even go through and watch others go through.
I agree. And it's funny, I think people, like, they don't really necessarily even see themselves, you know, as you talk about expressing oneself. Sometimes people don't see themselves, and I think, like, you know, working with someone like yourself or myself, it's like we help put a light onto all the different parts and help them to understand, like, that quirky thing, that they do is actually awesome. They need to bring it into their business, you know?
Yeah, you know, it reminds me of like, I don't know, almost reminds me of being a teenager. Like when someone that you trust, you know, comes to you and says, you know, no, like that mole on your chin is beautiful, or like your curly hair is amazing. And like, don't change it to be like them. Like, just be you, you know, it's like you have to do that over again, right? Like, who am I now? That I'm in my 30s or 40s or 50s. Like you have to sort of go through that again. Like I'm not that anymore. I'm not this. Like what am I? Who am I now? And the gift of having a coach or a mentor or a guide, someone you trust, to be like, well, let me see. What do you love? And like spending time. For me personally, I've always had a coach since I've started the process. And I know I will always have one, because there's something so magical about finding someone that you trust enough to say like, oh, okay, this is what I'm going through. I'm hitting this wall, which we will always hit. There's always another wall, right? Like, well,
I just hit one yesterday.
Like,
you know,
I was on a coaching call this morning where, you know, I walked through like this beautiful process of like hitting the wall and just staying there and like trusting that it's okay. Like doesn't mean you have to turn around and go back and change everything. It just means that there's something here that needs to be like adjusted a little bit, you know, and trusting, asking for guidance and whatever your tools are, you know. So I think having a coach like you, who's so knowledgeable and so in tune with what the video process is just a gift. You know, it's something that we can figure it out on our own, maybe over a long time. But I think the gift of having someone with you is just to, you know, really cut through all that stuff and just say, okay, let's trust this process, and I can teach you what I've learned. And it's beautiful.
Well, I think the same with you, and what you're doing with women is just astonishing. And I actually want to, there's this quote that's on your website that just lights me up whenever I see it. And here it is. It's from Anais Nin, if I'm saying her name right. And she says, "And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom." And I think it's so true, you know, and I'm sure, well, let me ask you, do you find like the women who come to you, are they at that point when that pain to remain tight is just too much and they need help for, you know, to blossom? Is that where people come to you?
Yeah, that quote really lives in my heart. It lives on my refrigerator. It lives on my website. I always go to it because I feel like when there's a choice, and we all come to those choices, sometimes daily, sometimes in our business, where we can choose to kind of go internal, and not take that risk and not step out because we really don't know what is there. And the real beauty in walking this sort of spiritual path, which I personally love to walk into, is because you really don't know what's on the other side, and you're never going to know until you take that step, and then it opens. You take that step and then it opens, and so it's like trusting the process enough. So versus choosing to stay safe, to play it safe. And that's very different from choosing simplicity. It's very different from consciously choosing not to walk the path of like, I'm going to become a speaker and travel the world, or like, no, I'm choosing to be home with my family because this is what I value. That's different. It's a personal opening, right? So it's like, what is your next step? It could just be starting a blog. It could just be going and making a new friend. It could just be asking for what you need within the relationship that you're in. It's like that next opening of taking that risk and knowing that not taking the risk is much more painful, like physically painful, which I believe it is. For me, it was, versus like going, hey, screw it, whatever happens tomorrow, I know that I'm going to be proud of myself for taking that next step. Even if I fail miserably, which I don't even believe in, I believe there's always a lesson, that it's going to be so much more worth it. And the women that I work with are like right there. They kind of sense it. They're like, I just need someone to hold my hand as we jump off the cliff together. I don't know where we're going to land, but we're both going to sprout wings and we're going to fly, So the women that I work with tend to have like that passion, but they just haven't quite figured out how to give voice to it, or they're ready, like they know where they want to go, they don't quite know how to get there, and they want to, maybe they've done it before, like maybe they've tried to start a business before, but they've hit that wall and let that stop them, or self-sabotage comes into play a lot.
Gee, I don't know about that at all.
Right. I think, we're all like kind of getting it. We're kind of getting that, like we're evolving into something really beautiful, and it doesn't have to look like anyone else's. And I think that's why people get attracted to me, is because I really have walked that walk. I've tried to fit in. I've tried to emulate. I've tried to template myself to death, Now I'm like, I'm just going to do it the way I do it. I might mess up. I might redo it again. I don't like constantly change my messaging, but I'm really like that self-care is my passion. That's what I do. But sometimes I might try the video. I might try the blog. There's a couple of, I just play with it, and that playfulness and that ease and that coming from the heart, no matter what, as I think what draws women to work with me, and where the magic really happens, where they're open to the spiritual side of it. They know that there's some strategy involved. They're ready to say yes to themselves. They're ready to have fun and build a brand that just is them, and really expresses all of them authentically.
Yeah, I love that. It's like, what you just said, it's like, to express yourself authentically is like where magic and strategy meet. I think that's so great. Yeah. That's really special. Yeah, tweet that, yo.
It's true. It's so true. It's that space of like figuring out what you want to do and how you want to do it, and then letting the heart take the lead a little bit. It really is magic.
That warms my cheeks. I'm blushing from that. It's so beautiful. Wow.
Yay.
That's really great. So, so let me ask you, as far as self-expression is concerned and bringing the magic and strategy together, like, what do you find is the number one thing that gets in the way for entrepreneurs to express themselves authentically?
The number one thing, hands down, is self-doubt. Always self-doubt. And I think there's a trust that comes along with stepping into your authentic self-expression. Trust that it comes from something bigger than you. I'm not a religious person. I didn't grow up like going to church or synagogue or anything like, well, a little bit maybe, but it was not like the leading role in my life yet. I've always trusted that like there's something, like we're here on this earth for a reason, where we've been given the way we sound, the way we look, the way we express ourselves, the gifts that we bring, the things that we're drawn to for a reason. And if you can figure that out and just pay attention, then, the doubt might still be there. I know it'll still be there. It's always there. Every time I create a new course or I'm having a new sales conversation or anything, I'm like, okay, I can feel it coming up, but then I have my strategies, right? That's where the strategies come in. I have my morning routines, I have my morning rituals, I have my physical movement, I have my my reading that I do, like things that like realign you. Because we are human and we are going to go to sleep and wake up with a new doubt. I personally, when I'm really, really in doubt, I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm like, oh, what did I just do? I can't believe how much I just spent. What am I thinking? It's just easier to not do it. All right, staying tight in the bud. That's that moment. And then I wake up in the morning and I do my writing and I do my yoga and I do my meditation. I'm like, okay, I remember, and I trust. And so for me, like the women that I work with and that I hear from, the biggest killer of dreams is doubt. And giving that doubt too much weight. And not having the strategies around it to dance with it, you know, to be curious about what's around the corner, more curious than scared. And like figuring out how to dance with that and like knowing what to do when you feel it. So for me, like that spiritual practice, that self-care practice is what I go back to. It's my centering. It's a daily practice, sometimes hourly. I already know, like I'm planning a retreat, this awesome, huge retreat at this beautiful location. It's in August. So my doubts, like I can hear it. It's like really small, but I know like that in July, it's going to be like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Don't do it. It's too scary. So I'm going to have to like really even go deeper within and really dig into my practice and get the support I need and ask for the support and like just remember and just like really, you know, be in it. I remember reading years ago, I think it was not Goldie Hawn, but some really big actress during the 80s. I was reading her memoirs, which I love reading. And she said every single time she goes on set, she feels like a fraud. Every single time she thinks she's going to get fired. And, this, you know, making millions and millions of dollars, like hired without even auditioning, you know, like they want her. And she said without fail, every single time she stepped foot on set, she thought she was going to be fired. And I'm like, man, it's at every single level. You know, you could be making $1,000 a month or $10 million per movie, and you're still going to feel that doubt come up. But I bet you, I don't remember this, but I bet you there's something she does where she like centers and takes a deep breath and steps on set and she's there. You know, so we just need to figure out what that is. And that's what I love helping women do.
That's so great. And I find too, connecting with your reason why. Reconnecting with that can be really powerful as well, you know, so that it's not, it's all about taking the focus off of yourself and remembering what is greater than you, what is it outside of you that, you know, is drawing you to do this and why does that light you up, you know, so it's not just about you and your fears, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'd love to know your why. I want to know everyone's why.
Do you want to know my why?
Sure. I'd love to know your why.
So my why has to do with having been in the media for such a long time. You know, I've been in and around this since I was 19, and actually no younger than that, 17. So one thing that I am hyper aware of in my works is like the images of women and how we're portrayed. So, you know, as a director and as a writer in my artistic side, a lot of my stories that I create are about women and making us also the heroes of our own journey. And, you know, but it's in that is like the whole thing around empowerment and claiming your story, whether you're a woman or a man. Like we all have stories to tell. And oftentimes, you know, people feel like their stories aren't important enough or sexy enough or, you know, flashy enough or interesting enough because they could do the comparison dance. And the media, you know, can be a part of that, of creating that comparison dance. And then we all get in on that and we're like, oh my gosh, I don't look like that person. Oh my gosh, well, I'm not as funny as that person or as interesting and all that. So I'm finding in working with entrepreneurs, it's like a lot of people just are not claiming their own brilliance and they're doing the comparison dance. So for me, it's really awesome to be able to help empower them and engage them with their own strength and what makes them unique. And I would love to, like, you know, have an army of people who are redefining what our media is and redefining how entrepreneurs present themselves online. You know, we don't have to do like the traditional form of spreading the word. And and it's all about being authentic and being yourself. So yeah, it kind of goes deep, but I'm really into people expressing themselves and you know, really just being able to be themselves comfortably.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
There's a lot of crossover in what you were saying and what I love to help women with as well. So it's, you know, when you find that sweet spot of self-expression and your why, and then there's that middle point of like, this is why I want to do it, and this is why I feel called to do it, and then doing it. And then how do you bridge that gap in between, that doubt bridge?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, like, there's nothing, I mean, I'm sure you agree, there's nothing more beautiful than somebody who is in their strength. You know, who's owning their power. And you can see it. You could just see it. You know, you can feel it, and we all have moments of it. And more, I own it more and more. You know, as I step into it. Like I said, there's always going to be the doubt, but when you can wake up and just like know that what you're doing is important, and not in like a self-important kind of way, but like just knowing that that one conversation, that one word or idea or book suggestion or something, like I can look back in my life and see different points of connection where someone took time to share with me or reflect something back that I couldn't see. And it made a world of it. I mean, I've moved across country because of, you know, things like that. Like I look for signs, you know, and then I trust them and I make them right. Like I don't doubt them when I do it. Like I always have the saying of like, you know, you can make your decision and then wait for it to be validated, or you can just make your decision and make it right. And knowing that whatever happens as a result of it is going to be the right thing that happens. And so there's that like that dance, right, of not comparing, of trusting yourself, having your why. It's just it's an evolving process, and it's a lot of moving parts sometimes, and it can seem overwhelming, and it does overwhelm a lot of people. More and more people, you know, decide to walk away from their dreams, and that's sad to see. So I hope with more and more women like us walking in the world, and so many amazing women that I see stepping into that moment of power, can inspire someone else to say, well, what's mine? You know, what's mine? I'm at least like start that curiosity. Like, I wonder what my gift is, and starting to look at that and walk into it. It's beautiful. I agree. And, you know, of course, it's not only just women. Of course, you know, there's men out there, too, who have a hard time with expressing themselves and have dealt with judgment and things like that, and are harsh on themselves, too. So, you know, it's I mean, I think it's more common in women, but I think, like, it's definitely a universal problem that people deal with, of, like, feeling, you know, okay to express themselves. So. So I would like to do right now, before we get to your beautiful call to action, because we're going to get people doing something today and taking action in their lives, I'd like to do what I call the self-expression speed round, which I think that's what I call it. I don't know. I don't remember what I called it in the last video. But what this is going to be is, it's going to be, I'm just going to ask you some questions. And it's like 1-2 word answers, and don't think too much on it. Just kind of give it to me. Okay, ready? So here we go. What do I call it? Self-expression speed round. Okay. What is your favorite word?
Trust.
What is your least favorite word?
No. I don't know why that came up.
It's good. It's all good.
I'll go with it.
What sound or noise do you love?
My son laughing.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Ooh, let's see. For some reason, chalk on fingernails on a chalkboard came up, so I haven't heard that in years, but I hate that. And the sound of tissues in your mouth. Ugh, I hate that. Like someone chewing on a tissue. I know it's insanity, but it is.
Hey, man. It's all good. So I have one last question for you.
Okay.
And that is, what makes you shine?
Being me, just like unabashedly being me. Yeah. Whatever that is.
Yeah. Okay. And you made it. You made it through the, what is it? Self-expression, express yourself speed round.
I love it. That was great. Awesome. It's so funny what things come up, right? When you don't filter. Just like, if I had time to think about it or write it, I guarantee you it would have been more polished and more like, more related to my business.
I love it. I love it when it's just raw like that. So, I think now would be a good time, like, quickly to talk a little bit about what you have coming up or what you offer people. So what's going on in your world?
Several ways that people can engage with what I do. One is my favorite course that I created last year, and I run it every 2 months, is a 21-day self-care program. It's super intense, but it's not hard. It's like little challenges every day that make you take time, not make you, but it offers you an invitation to take time for yourself in really fun, creative ways.
Yes.
I've run it 3 times now, and the feedback has been amazing. The next round will be in May, and that'll just be on my site. There's actually a full page on my site where you can watch for the next round of opening. Cool. And it brings in several women. There's a private Facebook community that keeps growing every time I run the course, and they just engage and post their own results and pictures, and there's connections happening all the time, and it's women from all over the world. So that's one of my favorite things. I have a 3-month group coaching program coming up that's all about finding your sweet spot, and that's actually launching in March, and that's going to be, I'll run that again in the future, but it's really the foundation for a longer mastermind program coming up that's all about bringing all of you to your brand and really figuring out how to create the daily foundation of strategy of self-care, and then to bring in, like, well, what are you really good at, and how do you express that in your business? And sort of, you know, someone who's just ready to, like, create their online business, or maybe they sort of have a website ready going, but they haven't really done very much with it. So someone who's ready to just kind of dive in and do the work.
Great.
And then the bigger one will be the Mastermind. It's that luxury retreat that I mentioned in August.
Place.
Oh, it's just beautiful. It's right on the water, and it's total luxury. There's a spa, and it's the first weekend in August up here in the Pacific Northwest. I'll give all the details as they unfold, but it's going to be 2.5 days of just a tribe of women coming together, and meditation and self-care and strategy, and it'll be super, super fun. And that's the kickoff to a mastermind program. So it'll be very specific group of women that'll be called to do it. It's not going to be like a huge thing. It'll be a small, intimate program. Yeah. And then, of course, I do the one-on-one coaching, which is sort of a running way to engage. It's ongoing. It's, I keep about 5 slots open at any given time because I'm a mom and I'm a wife, and I have time in my life that I dedicate to coaching my clients, and time in my life that I dedicate to not doing anything else on the computer. So I really keep it limited so that I can give as much as I need to during those sessions. So that's always, the information is on my site and always available for a discovery session and just to talk and find out more about each other. And so those are the ways to work with me. That's awesome. Of course, I'm always at elenalipson.com and blogging every week. So
love it. I love it. And I can't wait to find out where this luxury retreat is going to be.
It's amazing. I posted some pictures, and it's literally like on the water, and it's called the chrysalis. So it's perfect because, the chrysalis is that cocoon where, you just sort of melt down and become liquid, and then you reemerge as this beautiful butterfly. And so it's very literal. I chose it very specifically for that reason. And you walk in and you just feel like you just leave the world behind you and walk in, and I can't wait to do it myself.
I know. Like, sign me up.
Yes.
So that's awesome. And thank you for sharing that. And I'm sure people will be heading over to check out your stuff. And I think you're doing really, really great work. So before we say goodbye, we have a call to action, because we want to get people taking action in their lives and businesses. We don't want to just have them check this out and have some tea and then go and not do anything. So we want people to take action. So if you can provide our fabulous call to action today, that would be fabulous.
Yeah, I was thinking about what I can offer, and there's so many. Of course, I'm all about sacred rituals, and I'm thinking which one really had the most profound effect on me. And it's one that I learned. I sort of did it a little bit in a loose way, but really after reading The Artist's Way, the creative spiritual path, a while back, I really cemented this habit, and now I include it as work for my clients and within my programs. And that is to literally, like, grab your planner right now, like, do it right now. And then you open it up, and then you look at the week, and you literally write in date with myself for 1 hour, 30 minutes, 2 hours, your lunch break, whatever. And it is a sacred space. It is not to have your dog or your friend or your partner or anyone with you. It's just you. And it's about asking, like, what do I want to do today? And really, it could just be walking on the beach. It could be browsing a bookstore. It could be I don't know, going bowling, whatever, going to see a movie, whatever it is, but it's a weekly nurturing of yourself that becomes habitual. And the reason, it sounds like something that you could forget to do or, not do if you don't put it on your schedule, and you protect it. Like, that's my time. I don't care what's going on. If I have to find a babysitter, I'll find a babysitter. That's my time. What happens is you start to reconnect with yourself in a way that's really, centered and focused, and you start learning how to ask yourself, what do I need most today? And you do that, and you give it to yourself, and you give it to yourself, and you start building the muscle of giving yourself what you need. And so I would do that. Like, do it now, even if it's 20 minutes, and it can grow over time to where you're like taking a whole afternoon just for yourself. And the cool thing is, like, when I have strategy, when I have stuff going on, or I'm planning a course, I can spend all day at the table and come up with some great stuff. But if I step away and I go for a really long walk, I guarantee every single time I come back with, like, boom, a spark of intuition, because I've let that part of myself rest and, be renourished. So that's what I would say. Like, make time for yourself, put it on your calendar right now. Non-negotiable.
Done.
Non-negotiable. It's easy, simple. It sounds very simple, but it's actually really, really powerful.
Yeah. Well, I think that's fantastic, and thank you. So definitely people get on this, and I did the Artist's Way many moons ago, and this was definitely a really powerful thing to do, was to take yourself on a date by yourself, just for the purpose of, like, just opening up, being, open to what the world has to bring you, and to create space for yourself and fill the well, as they say.
Fill the well. Yes, absolutely. Sharpen the saw, fill the well. All those cool transformational self-improvement things. It works. They do it because it works. So do it.
Love it. Okay. So, is there anything before we go? Is there anything else that you'd like to say to our people who are watching?
Yes. The more you focus on yourself in that way, meaning like really having that conversation with yourself and asking what you need most, the more you start to become like magnetized, and people start to want to know, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? And so it's almost a trusting of the process, that the more you invest in yourself, the more people will want to know what you're doing and want to know what work you're doing. And it's like a really beautiful cycle, versus not doing that at all and doing so much for others, and then finding yourself depleted, overwhelmed, exhausted, resentful, and not wanting to do your work anyway. Like, we've all been there. We've all done that. It's like the new way. The new way is to treat yourself as your number one asset and ask your asset what you need most. Then do that.
Love it. Love it. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me. And I just want to say to everybody, like, I think today there's so many tips in here about how to express yourself, and Elena, thank you so much for that, and for helping people to engage into their authentic selves. I think you're doing a bang up job, lady.
Thank you. You too. Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me. It's so much fun. I love interviews where we can just laugh and be silly. So thank you.
Me too.
Appreciate it.
Awesome. My pleasure. Okay, so everybody go out and do your call to action, courtesy of Elena Lipson, and take yourself on a date this week.
Yes, I will.
Same here. I will make a promise, and I'm going to put it in my journal right after this call, and I'm going to take myself on a date this week.
Awesome.
Doing
Have fun.
I will. Okay, so otherwise, this is Sarah Michelle Brown, your virtual video director, signing off, and I just want to say, express yourself, and remember to always dream up. Thank you, Elena.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.